Hi, this is Taylor Bockelman and Olivia Peterson interviewing Mrs. Midge Thomas, who attended Robert Moton High School.
Okay. Can you please tell us about your time at Robert Moton High School?
Well, there were good times. There were not so good times, but we made the best of what we had. As we had talked to you earlier and told you that I attended the old Robert Moton School for 3 years. And we had outhouses there. Um, and if you think of today, if you were in that school and had to go outside, that wouldn't have been so good. But we had dedicated teachers. We had teachers that they taught 3 and 4 classes, and I meant different subjects. And they were concerned about you.
What was your school day like?
Well, interesting. We were bused from Mount Airy. It took us an hour to get to Robert Moton. Then in the evening, it took us another hour to get home. Unless it snowed or it was real cold, it took us 2 hours to get to school and from school. And the bus would be so cold, we'd have to sit on each other's feet to keep the feet warm until we got home.
How did you feel about that?
Well, you know, you do what you have to do. We need to go to school, so, and these people were trying very hard to get us back and forth to school. The man that drove the school bus was Alonzo Lee, and he not only drove the school bus, but he taught the 6th grade at the school too. And then when we had other activities at school, like the music festival, games, anything like that, he'd come back and drive the children back to Robert Moton at night so that we could go to the games, because a lot of kids back then, their parents didn't have cars. So that was the only way we got back and forth to school.
So, what did you do on the bus ride during that hour?
It was an hour long. What did you do? Did you just talk and
You just talk?
you didn't play games? Or
No.
You just
No.
behaved?
Yes. Yes. Oh, you behave. That's the one good thing about those teachers.
So, where did you get the bus from?
It was in front of my house. Stopped in front of the house. Some kids weren't as fortunate. We were right on 27. That's why it stopped in front of our houses. Some children had to walk maybe a half mile or a mile to get to the bus. So that's a long day when you're on that bus all that time, and then you have to walk too. So that brings you out real early in the morning. You get home real late at night.
Did you have any after-school activities?
Well, yes, I was in the glee club. Basketball, I wasn't very well coordinated. I was tall and skinny with long legs and arms, but I couldn't do anything with that. And, I was a majorette. I was also a cheerleader. So that kept me busy.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what exactly is the Glee Club?
The Glee Club is, well, they're singers where you have a music teacher and she teaches us all to sing, and gets all the voices, blends them together, and that's their male voices, their female voices. Then we even had solos and that sort of thing, so that every April we had what you call music festival.
Was that just your school or was it other schools as well?
This was our school, but I don't know whether you remember Mr. Royer from the right, Western Maryland College, who used to come and grade us, and we'd go through that every
Did
year.
you go to, they still have a stud fed, is that what it was?
No, this
were
was,
you not allowed to participate in that? He came out and graded you separately, or did you go against
all I
other
know is he
classes?
graded just Robert Moton. That's all I know. He graded us.
Sports?
When you played basketball, who did you play?
I didn't play basketball. I mean, some of the others can probably tell you that.
Oh, okay.
I remember being a cheerleader. We went to North Hagerstown, South Hagerstown. Was it Solace Point, I believe? Yeah, Catonsville. Because we had to go with the team to cheer.
Okay, were there any restrictions of like who you could play against? Well, like cheer.
You probably should ask the coaches at that time. I mean, they could tell you, because I know we never played any white teams, if that's what you're asking.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hmm.
What were you most proud of in that time?
In high school.
Like, yeah.
Just about everything, really. I mean, we had such dedicated teachers. And as Paula had said, the teachers would stop past your house at any time. We could look up any day and see the teacher, the principal, anyone at our house. And it was not always to come to tell you somebody's done something wrong. It's they come back and sit, make you feel, we make them feel at home, and then they make us feel at home here. And you feel comfortable with your teachers.
Was there a difference that how they treated you by the color of your skin, or like most of your schools?
You're throwing me off here.
You can throw in.
No, I wanted to ask her, what do you mean?
Was there, like, did they treat, when you went out into the different schools, were you treated different because of the color of your skin?
When you went out
When
to
you
the
went to
schools,
school.
were you treated or did you
Are you
just-
talking black schools or white schools?
Black schools, both.
Were you-
No, because I think black people knew that there were light black people back then.
But what I'm saying is, did you find it hard to get people to accept you, to accept the fact that you were from a school in which they didn't want children to come to their activities? Like, I know that.
Within the Carroll County
in the Carroll
community.
County community, yeah.
Well, when we went to schools, we had rivals everywhere. I remember going to North and South Hagerstown to play basketball, and boy, it was as soon as the game was over, we wanted to get out the door. So, but no, I had no problems.
What life lessons did you learn at Robert Moton?
Oh my. Well, I wanted to speak about Mrs. Prince. When I remember when she taught home ec. She was also a principal too, but she taught home ec. I hated home ec. I didn't want to sew and I didn't want to cook. And with her sewing, I wanted to start out with something fashionable. but you have to start with the basis. Well, I didn't want to do that. So, well, you did it, whether you wanted to or not. And then I discovered later in life, I've turned out to be a pretty good cook. Look at me. And I can sew. So I'm thinking, oh, well, I learned more from her than I thought I did. Really, I pushed it in the back of my mind, and when the time comes for me to use it, I have it. And she taught us so many things. You know, all of them taught you how to get along, how to do certain things, how to help in the community. This was Robert Moton.
What did you tell your children about Robert Moton?
Oh, everything. I tell my children everything about everything.
Would you like your children to have attended with those teachers, if not at Robert Moton?
Yes, I would have. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did any of the teachers travel with you to Westminster High when they moved over to Westminster High? Where did those teachers, were they spread out amongst the county?
They were spread out around the county.
Along
yes.
with the kids?
Yes. Yes.
If you had one wish, what would you change in your life now or back then while you were in high school?
Oh. I don't know that I'd change anything. I've accepted my life as it is. Why change it? No matter what you go through, it makes you stronger.
Well, how do you feel about the election coming up? Well, not the election, the inauguration.
Oh, I'm happy. Very happy.
Why are you happy about this?
Well, I'm happy to see an African American male become president. I'm happy to see it's during the time that he was campaigning, it was almost as if there was a divine intervention, because everyone was saying, oh, I'm so afraid something's going to happen to him, or he's not going to make it. But it was almost as if something was pushing him and moving him. And I'm happy for that. I am so glad, and I just hope that he can bring about some of the right changes, because it's a mess out there, which he didn't do, but it's a mess. So I'm just happy.
That's good.
What was, looking back all the way, if you had to go back all the way through Robert Moton, what do you think was the best moment for you during high school? Or when you were growing up, what do you think the best thing was about being who you were? What do you remember as your happiest moment? A time when things were just right for you?
Well, I guess my best moment is just having family, having a loving family, caring about each other. That to me is very important. And that's the thing that I always stress with my children now. We have everything together, we do everything together. And when they were small and teenagers, we did things together. We went to museums, we did movies, we just did all sorts of things together.
Was there any restrictions of places you could go, at the movies or anything?
Oh, back when, yes. I remember coming up to the theater in Westminster, and you had to go to the balcony. And Frederick, because I'm between Frederick and Westminster, and we go to Frederick, and you had to also go to the balcony. And I remember they first come out showing the first black movies, Carmen Jones, I think it was. And we wanted to see Carmen Jones so badly. And when we got there, the man looks at us and he says, first he hesitated, and then he says, you'll have to go upstairs. And I said, oh, that's okay. We're all going up sometime or other. And so we got to see Carmen Jones. But they were showing these black movies, and
Still sitting.
yes, you still had to go upstairs. I mean, and that was the same way with the stores. the garages. I remember Mr. Lee at one time with the school bus, he was bringing us out in Taylorsville, and his gas was, had gotten low, and he was going to stop and go into the gas station. So the man comes out, he puts the gas in, and then Mr. Lee gives him a $20 bill, and he goes into the garage and he stays. He wouldn't come back. Well, Mr. Lee was very aggressive, and he got off the bus, and the sign on the door, big as day, no colored, white only. And Mr. Lee pushed through the door. When he come back, he was carrying his $10, and we went on to school.
How did that make you feel when that happened?
Well, it's upsetting. You know, it's very upsetting to know that they would do things like that. And it was being done everywhere.
Is there anything you'd like to say before we close this? Because it's been such a pleasure.
Well, I think the times are changing. We have to change with it. I think that we're supposed to be vocal. I mean, we don't have to be completely disagreeable, but I think you want to lay the facts out there, and you need to do those kind of things.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
You're
very
welcome.
much.
Thank you.